Hello everyone. In this video we are going to learn preprocessor directives. This video has been prepared for the students of BCA and BA or BSc in Computer Applications of University of Kashmir. Our program may comprise of a number of statements. You may have seen that we write hash include stadio.h, hash include conio.h, or hash include string.h at the beginning of every C program. We call them preprocessor directives. These preprocessor directives are processed before compilation. Every C program is first compiled and then executed, but the preprocessor directives are processed before compilation. They are not compiled, they are processed by a preprocessor. So preprocessors are programs that process our source code before compilation. You may have noted that every preprocessor directive begins with a hash symbol. Yeah, in this diagram you can see that compiler has no role in translating preprocessor directives. A preprocessor directive, which always begins with a hash symbol, is processed or translated by a preprocessor, and then the expanded source code is sent to the compiler for translation. Here you can see few examples of preprocessor directives. We may write hash includes stadio.h, sometimes hash define, hash undef, hash if, hash error, hash pragma, etc. All these are known as preprocessor directives. Actually, there are four types of preprocessor directives. These are macros, file inclusion, macros, file inclusion, conditional compilation, and then some other directives. First of all, let's study macros. We may use a piece of code in our program and we give it a name. And later on, we may use these lines of code by mentioning the name only in our program, thus reducing the size of our program and making it compact. So a macro is a piece of code in a program which is given some name, and whenever this name is encountered by the compiler replaces the name with the actual piece of code. We use hash define directive to define a macro. We don't use any semicolon or what we call as terminator at the end of a macro definition. Macros can also receive arguments. When arguments are passed to the macros, they work same as functions do. Macros can be used both without arguments and with arguments. First, let us see how macros are used without arguments. Yeah, the concept here is clarified with the help of an example. In this example, you can see how macros are used without arguments. Yeah, at the top you can see I have written hash includes stadio.h, and the concept of hash include shall be clarified in the coming slides. The next line is a comment for macro definition. We can write anything we want for our convenience as a comment for making our code more readable and understandable, and a comment is not compiled. There will be no error message even if we commit spelling or punctuation mistakes in the text that we use as a comment. The next line is hash define size 5. You may have seen that it has begun with a hash symbol and no semicolon or terminator has been used at the end. The statement hash define size 5 defines a macro named as size whose value is 5, and the value shall not change during the execution of the program. After defining the macro, we use the main function. Then we have used for loop. The loop starts from 0 and ends at 4. The loop shall execute 5 times, and the statement printf%d \t, I shall also get executed 5 times. That is from 0 to 4. The loop shall terminate when the value of size becomes 5. Yeah, in the next slide, we shall see how we use macros with arguments. Here is the example. This program also starts with hash include studio.h. We shall come to know it short while from now. Then I have used comment macro with parameter. Only to make it clear that we are going to use macros with arguments. Then I have written hash define area L comma B, then L multiplied by B. Let me explain it. We are defining or creating a macro named as area. L and B shall be the arguments, L for length and B for breadth of a rectangle. Then the value returned by the macro shall be L multiplied by B, that is length multiplied by breadth, which is the formula for calculating the area of a rectangle. Then starts the main function. In the main function I have used 3 variables, L1 for length, L2 for breadth, area variable for storing the area of the rectangle. I have initialized L1 with the value 10 and L2 with value 5. Then I have written area is equal to area of L1 comma L2. The area written in lowercase is name of the variable used in main function, and the area written in uppercase is name of the macro. If you have studied functions, you may have noted that the macro has been called in the same manner as we call functions. L1 and L2 are the arguments whose values get copied into L and B variables of the macro respectively. The macro gets processed and returns the value L multiplied by B, that is 10 multiplied by 5, which is 50. This value 50 is assigned to the area variable written in lowercase inside the main function, which gets printed by executing the printf statement. The main function does not return any value, so we write return 0. And here is the output. Area of rectangle is 50. We shall study the remaining types of these preprocessor directives in the coming slides. That will be discussed in the next video. Please do watch that video also.